Hey there, folks. This is Grandpa John Harlan coming at you from my old armchair in Denver, Colorado. Grab a cup of coffee, because I'm about to spill the beans on the wildest, most gut-wrenching story of my life. It all started back in 1990, when my boy Michael was just 25 years old. He was a strapping young fella, working as a mechanic down at the Ford plant in Detroit. Michael had that all-American dream going. Married to his high school sweetheart Sarah, with a little girl, my granddaughter Emily, toddling around at 2 years old. Life was good, or so we thought. That fateful morning, October 15th, Michael kissed Sarah goodbye, ruffled Emily's hair, and hopped in his beat-up Chevy pickup. "See you tonight, Dad," he hollered to me over the phone the night before. I was living nearby back then. He was heading to his shift same as always, but he never made it. The plant called Sarah around noon, wondering where he was. She figured maybe a flat tire or something minor. By evening, panic set in. We called the cops, searched the routes, but nothing. His truck was found abandoned on a side road, keys still in the ignition, no signs of a struggle. Just gone, like the earth swallowed him whole. The days blurred into weeks. Sarah and I plastered missing posters everywhere. Grocery stores, bus stops, even billboards. The media picked it up for a bit. Local mechanic vanishes. Foul play suspected. But leads dried up fast. Detectives poked around, questioning co-workers, but nobody saw a thing. Rumors flew. Maybe he ran off with another woman, or owed money to shady folks. Bullcrap, I said. Michael was solid as a rock, loved his family more than breathing. Emily kept asking, "Where's Daddy?" And it tore my heart out. Sarah held it together for her, but at night, I'd hear her sobbing. Me? I quit my job at the hardware store to search full-time. Drove cross-country, following tips that led nowhere. Years ticked by, and hope faded like an old photograph. We held a memorial after 5 years, buried an empty casket. But deep down, I never let go. Something felt off, like unfinished business. Little did I know, 35 years later, it had all come crashing back in the most unbelievable way. Stick around for part 2, folks. It gets deeper. All right, friends. Welcome back to Grandpa John's Story Corner. If you're just tuning in, we're diving into how my son Michael vanished in 1990, leaving us all shattered. Now let's talk about those endless years without him. After the initial frenzy, life had to grind on. But it was like walking through molasses. Sarah threw herself into raising Emily, working double shifts as a nurse to keep the roof over their heads. Emily grew up smart as a whip, but with this shadow hanging over her, always wondering about her dad. She became a teacher, married a nice guy named Tom, and had kids of her own. But holidays, they were rough. Empty chair at the table, toasts to Michael's memory that left us choking back tears. Me, I moved to Colorado for a fresh start, but the ghost of that day followed. I joined support groups for families of the missing, sharing stories with folks who'd lost loved ones too. Some found closure, most didn't. I hired private investigators over the years, sunk my savings into it. One PI, a grizzled vet named Frank Dawson, dug up a lead in '95. Michael's truck had traces of a rare industrial chemical, something used in high-end manufacturing. Pointed to a big-shot company, Harlan Industries. No relation, ironically run by a tycoon named Victor Kane. Kane's empire dealt in auto parts, same field as Michael's job. Frank thought maybe Michael witnessed something shady, like embezzlement or worse. We pushed the cops, but they hit a wall. Kane's lawyers swarmed like bees, claiming no connection. Case went cold again. By the 2000s, technology changed things. DNA databases, online forums. I learned to use computers at the library, posting Michael's photo everywhere. Got false alarms. A guy in Texas who looked like him, a drifter in Cali. Each one was a punch to the gut. Sarah remarried in 2010, a kind widower named Bill, but she never stopped wearing Michael's wedding ring on a chain. Emily's kids called me Great Grandpa John, and I'd spin yarns about their missing grandpa to keep his spirit alive. But inside, rage simmered. Who took my boy? Why? I prayed for answers, even as age crept up. Arthritis, hearing aids, the works. Then, in 2025, flipping channels one evening, there he was. Michael's face on the news, older but unmistakable. My heart nearly stopped. What came next? Hold on for part 3. The revenge starts brewing. Howdy again, everybody. Grandpa John here, picking up where we left off. 35 years after Michael disappeared, I'm sitting in my recliner, remote in hand, when CNN blasts a breaking story. Billionaire Victor Kane, assassinated in bold daylight attack, suspect at large. But it wasn't the headline that floored me. It was the grainy security footage they showed next. A man in his 60s, salt and pepper hair, storming into Kane's penthouse office in New York. He looked right at the camera before pulling the trigger. And sweet Lord, it was Michael. My Michael. Eyes fierce, jaw set like the day he left for work. I dropped the remote, hollered for my nurse aide. "That's my boy," I yelled, tears streaming. Called Sarah and Emily right away. They thought I'd lost my marbles till they saw the replay. The news spun it as a revenge killing. Kane, that slimy mogul from our old leads, had built his fortune on dirty deals. Bribing officials, crushing competitors, even rumors of human trafficking in his supply chains. But the suspect, identified as John Doe at first, left a manifesto at the scene. It detailed how Kane's goons kidnapped a young mechanic in 1990 after he stumbled on their illegal ops at the Ford plant. Michael had overheard a shady meeting about smuggling parts laced with drugs. They grabbed him, faked the abandonment, and shipped him off to a remote compound in Mexico, forcing him into slave labor for Kane's cartel ties. For 35 years, he toiled in hell, beatings, isolation, watching others die. But he never broke, learned their secrets, bided his time, escaped during a storm in 2024. The manifesto named names, exposed bank accounts, even had photos smuggled out. It went viral before the cops could suppress it. Michael's face was everywhere. Hero to some, vigilante to others. "Justice for the forgotten," he wrote. My phone blew up. Reporters, old friends, even the FBI. Sarah flew out to Colorado. We huddled with Emily on Zoom. "Is it really him, Grandpa?" she asked, voice trembling. I nodded, feeling a mix of joy and fury. He'd survived. But at what cost? Why not come home first? The hunt was on. Michael was out there, tying in loose ends. Part 4's where the revenge hits full throttle. Don't go anywhere. Back at it, folks. Grandpa John Harlan, sharing this roller coaster of a tale. After seeing Michael on the news killing Victor Kane, the world turned upside down. The FBI raided Kane's empire, uncovering a web of corruption bigger than Watergate. Turns out, Michael wasn't alone. Dozens of folks like him, kidnapped and enslaved over decades. His manifesto sparked investigations worldwide. Arrests in Mexico, indictments in DC. But where was my son? He'd vanished again, leaving a trail of justice in his wake. A week later, another hit. Kane's right-hand man, a sleazeball lawyer named Edward Voss, found dead in his Miami yacht, poisoned with that same industrial chemical from Michael's truck back in '90. Message clear, payback. I couldn't sit idle. At 85, I geared up. Hired that old PI Frank Dawson again, now retired, but sharp as ever. "John, your boy's a ghost," he said. But we traced clues. Michael's manifesto hinted at a list of targets. Kane's inner circle, the ones who orchestrated the kidnaps. Social media exploded with hashtag Find Michael. Some calling him a murderer, others a avenging angel. Sarah and I did interviews, pleading for him to come home. "We love you, son. Whatever happened, we're here," I told the cameras, voice cracking. Emily used her tech-savvy kids to scour online forums. They found encrypted messages Michael might have posted, coding his next moves. Then, a breakthrough. An anonymous tip to my email. Coordinates in the Arizona desert. Frank and I drove out, hearts pounding. There, in a rundown motel, was Michael. Gray-haired, scarred, but my boy. We embraced, sobbing like babies. "Dad, I couldn't risk y'all," he whispered. "They'd have come for you." Over coffee, he spilled it all. The torture, fake deaths to break spirits, but memories of us kept him going. He'd planned revenge for years, stealing intel, building alliances with other escapees. After Kane, he took down Voss and two more, a corrupt judge and a cartel boss. "It's over now," he said, but the law was closing in. We hid him, called a lawyer. The trial became a sensation. Self-defense, vigilantism, evidence poured out, proving Kane's guilt. Michael got a plea deal. Time served in witness protection, but free. The family reunited, healing old wounds. Emily's kids met their grandpa. Sarah forgave the lost years. Me? I finally slept peaceful. One more part to wrap this up. The aftermath that'll warm your heart. Well, friends, we've reached the end of this epic yarn. Grandpa John here, tying up loose ends on my son's 35-year nightmare. After Michael's revenge spree and the big reveal, life started mending. The trial in 2025 was a circus, but with all that evidence from his manifesto, the jury saw him as a survivor, not a killer. He walked free, though under protection for a bit. Those cartel remnants don't forget easy. We moved him to a quiet spot in Colorado, near me. First thing, a massive family barbecue. Sarah cooked her famous ribs. Emily's kids, now teens, bombarded him with questions. "Grandpa Mike, were you like a spy?" one asked. He chuckled, eyes misty. "Nah, just a dad who wouldn't quit." Healing took time. Michael had PTSD, something fierce. Nightmares, jumpy at loud noises. We got him therapy. And slowly, the old Michael peeked through. He started working on cars again, opening a small garage. Shared stories of his ordeal in anonymous books, donating proceeds to missing persons charities. "For the ones still out there," he'd say. Sarah and he rekindled something. Not romance, but deep friendship. Bill, her husband, even welcomed him, saying, "Family's family." Emily? She wrote a book about it all, turning our pain into hope for others. Me, at 86 now, I cherish every moment. We hike the Rockies, fish in streams, talk about the good old days before it all went south. Michael's revenge. It brought down an empire, saving countless lives. Kane's company crumbled, assets seized for victims' funds. But the real win was us, a family pieced back together. I tell this story on YouTube because if it helps one person hold on or spot a shady deal, it's worth it. Life's fragile, folks. Hug your loved ones tight. Don't let grudges fester. But if wrong's done, seek justice the right way. Michael taught me that. Thanks for listening. If you like this, smash that like button. Subscribe for more real-life tales. Drop comments. Ever had a family mystery? Share below. God bless and take care out there. This is Grandpa John signing off.